There are secrets out there, guys, performance marketing secrets, and knowing just one or two of them can absolutely light up your funnels. Let's go. This is the Revenue Driven CMO. I'm your host, Chris Mechanic. Join me as I uncover the secrets of the world's most elite CMOs and marketing leaders. The Revenue Driven CMO is sponsored by Web Mechanics, the AI-driven performance agency that makes you smarter. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Revenue Driven CMO. I'm your main man, Chris Mechanic, here with one of the best B2B marketers in the world, I believe. And I'm incredibly fortunate to be talking with him. And I'm excited to get into it with him because he's the type of guy that, he can talk high level, he can talk strategy and go to market, he can talk brand, but he also, can get more granular and more micro and talk about the sort of nitty gritty and platform stuff that we love here sometimes. But he's a pro. He's been in sales in his career. He's started as an engineer, like on the dev side, which makes a lot of the best unicorns I know. But for over 2 decades, he's been scaling enterprise SaaS companies. He's all into it, intent. He's really deep into intent, personalization, just to really drive that engagement acquisition. He's an advisory board member of Yellowbrick Data, CMO Council. He contributes to Forbes frequently. CMO currently at Trellix. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Ash Parikh to the show. Welcome, Ash. How are you?
Thank you so much, Mike. It's my pleasure. This is a show that I've been watching and listening to for a very, very long time. So I was just waiting. When will I be invited? So thank you for having me. Really, really excited to be here.
Me too, man. Me too. We've got a lot of good stuff to talk about. You know how we like to start the episodes off, basically with you sharing one of your well-kept secrets for the audience here. Um, so why don't you just go ahead and lay it on us?
Thank you, Chris. First of all, thanks for having me. And I just not have one secret, but I have 5 secrets. Everyone talks about being revenue driven. Over the years, through a lot of failures and successes, I've learned that there are actually 5 secrets to actually doing well in the B2B space, right? And those
Yeah.
are: one is data, truly mastering your data at your fingertips, as I say. The second
Mhm.
one is having a growth mindset, right? And we can uncover these as we go along. The
Yeah.
third thing is just basically having an eye on ROI, right?
Mhm.
What goes in, how much can come out. That's really important. The fourth is making sure that everyone comes along for the ride with you. So truly transforming the org. That's about culture, taking people along for the ride, nurturing them, mentoring them. Those are the kind of things. And the last one is truly driving alignment. Being that torchbearer within the company for driving alignment between sales and marketing and products, marketing and customer success, you name it, right? You are right in the center as a marketing organization. How can
Yep.
I, as a CMO, actually drive that deep alignment? Those are the 5 secrets that I believe is behind anything that's sustainable.
Yep. And I fully agree with that. And there's an incredible amount to unpack because like just from the data aspect of things, like you can have your macro data, like what's pipeline, what's total size of pipeline, what things are closing in pipeline. That's at the very bottom of the funnel. But then, that goes all the way up, like from web conversion on the website to, even things like engagement signals and intent data you're big on and we'll talk on. So the 5 secrets: data, hiring for the growth mindset, keeping an eye on ROI, of course, right? That's core. Transformational mindset, which I'm interested to hear more about. And then that real alignment, like not just on the marketing team and not even just on the sales team. I mean, you mentioned something that was interesting, like even the product team, even the customer success team, and really being the torchbearer for the org. And I think that there's a lot of power in that and a lot of value. And it's funny because a lot of marketers right now like seem almost like timid in a way to get into those other areas of the business. It's like, hey, but you said it yourself, like revolving door. The CMO role is probably the of all the CXO of all the C-suite positions, it's the one with the highest rate of turnover, I imagine. And it's true. We're asking our CMOs to be almost everything, but I think that fifth piece, that alignment cross-functional is really where you can get the flywheel truly spinning.
You bring up you make me think about why I said alignment, Chris. So thank you for that. Actually, as I'm answering this, it dawns on me that's probably my background. Look, I started off in customer success. That was my very, very, very first job. Customer support, in fact. I used to field calls.
Yeah.
And they used to judge me on the number of calls that I used to take, the call quality, the duration, and how happy the customer was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what did I learn from that? Customer success, customer experience was key, and that people
Yeah.
will come back to buy from you or even keep renewing if you kept them happy and
Yeah.
gave them a good experience with your products. That was one very, very big learning for me. Right. The second
Yeah.
one was basically I carried a bag. I was a sales engineer, so I
Yep.
carried a bag, and these were my first, second jobs. Immediately after graduate master's school in
Yeah.
business, and that was also a humbling experience for me, Chris. Because look, uh, I'm not a sales guy, but it really came across as hey, how can you be your most authentic self with the
Yeah.
person on the other side of the table, right? How can you actually be presenting what they're looking for? And that
Yeah.
really taught me, that humility that goes in when you're trying to market. And after that, I started off in product marketing, product management, and then bubbled my way up to, leading marketing organizations, et cetera. But I think it's that background that helped me align a lot with the people in products, because I do have an engineering background. I have a business background as well with an MBA. I was able to actually bring these things together. I think that's
Yeah.
that life experience that's probably helped me over the years.
So were you an engineer first, like a technical first, and then
Yeah.
and then you got into customer success?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I see. Interesting. You don't see that happening a lot. Sometimes you see engineers moving into product or engineers moving into other roles, but you don't often see an engineer go to customer success.
I think I always wanted to be customer facing. That's probably what I really love doing, be connected to the customers. I was looking, is this the right approach for me? But I learned all throughout, right? How do you speak to customers? What are their pain points? Are they going to stay with you or not? And then how do you actually present to them? How do you actually talk about their value proposition versus your own? So I think those was, in retrospect, there's probably some divine plan for me. And thank
Yeah.
goodness I had it, because there were a lot of learnings, a lot of failures, and a lot of experiences which I brought to the table as far as marketing is concerned.
Well, at this point, Ash, so you have that well-rounded background, and now you're deep into marketing and customer acquisition and retention and growth. You are level 5, like certified dangerous human being in a good way, right? Like that's all the unicorns that you see have that really diverse background and skill set. Wouldn't you say? For the most
I
part?
Yeah,
Like
that's
Tesla, like
thank you for that. I'm probably going to put it in a different perspective. Look, marketing is all about human psychology, right? So
yeah.
I think I've probably been able to touch upon the different aspects of human psychology and their needs through these various experiences. So I think that's probably what makes me a lot more gives me an advantage, if you want to use that word. But again, it goes back to the basics of marketing.
Well,
You
I
know
think
your customer. That's it.
Well, I think it's the engineering background, really, because if you think, and obviously these are just massive, like huge company examples, but the biggest companies in the world, Tesla, Amazon, Meta, Google, Alphabet, all these, like
Or
they have development grounds. And then you go and learn the customer psycho or the human psychology aspect, and that's just the yin and yang, and that's what really makes you dangerous or makes anybody dangerous.
True. So I think to some extent, speaking to the technical crowd has always come natural to me because of the engineering background. I think I'm able to articulate, technical capabilities, business benefits, in the same tone. I can go as deep as talking about architecture, enterprise architecture with an enterprise architect to some extent, of course, right? Now I'm more
Yeah.
of a marketer, but I do get that language. I do understand what they're looking for. I do understand what a CIO, what a CISO is bothered about, what a SecOps person is concerned about, what a security analyst is concerned about. So that truly helps me build a more cohesive story from a marketing perspective. So yeah, I think those experiences did help, and that background does help.
Yeah, and it looks like it was your experience at Informatica, just based on your LinkedIn profile, looks like it was probably your most transformational experience, like when you really sort of came into your own at that point.
Without a
Um,
doubt. I mean, I started off as a product marketer with no one on my team. I was a single a one-man machine, right? Trying to get work done, but we got our little product to number one in the market, and through that I learned, okay, they gave me a little bit more, and over the years I kind of had the entire platform and the portfolio, and then it ended up heading all of marketing. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was transformational, absolutely.
So I want to talk about Trellix now, and I want you to talk to me. I know you've only been there not very long, but I want to talk to you in the context of your five secrets and what you're doing at Trellix now, like to sort of implement that level of alignment. Um, but before I do that, I'm just curious, just as a little tidbit for for the producers to have some good audio content. Um, you're all about ROI, right? And you're this really cross-functionally skilled person. Uh, I'm a marketer myself and a little bit technical, but I don't write code, but I can kind of like, paraphrase it sort of. I kind of understand how it works. However, I'm curious if you go into a new company and say it's a major company, like they have a large database, they have a customers, they have sales team, they have all the things. They're mid market, like 100 million to a billion, say, in revenue. So there's a lot of assets to be worked with there. Let's just say that you need some quick wins. Like your day one as a CMO there, you just need to post some quick wins. Do you have any like grab bag techniques or just like easy things that you would look to do in order to drive that level of ROI with like without a lot of ad spend or without a lot of time?
Absolutely. I think I've been known to be a very frugal marketer. And
Yeah.
by that, I mean, I just don't spend without a good ROI sense.
Yeah.
My team knows about this very well. If they come to me with a proposal, hey, where's the ROI? Where are the metrics up front? Have you engaged with your product leader, with your sales leader? They bought in? Are they going to be partners with you to kind of delivering this ROI? So answering your question, absolutely. Some of the low-hanging fruit, especially, we can take, Trellix, we can take my prior companies as well. I think when you come into a company like Trellix, thousands and thousands of customers, very happy. It's a leader in its space, XDR,
Yeah.
extended threat detection and response. And when you step back, what you really want to do is make sure that we're putting our best foot forward, right?
Yeah.
And it's a new company from a brand perspective, but it's not new. We've been around for 20, 25 years. We are McAfee Enterprise combined with FireEye. And when you
Oh,
step
really?
back,
I didn't know
yes,
that.
yeah. So we are a big company. We are actually, as I said, well, probably the company that actually created this whole category called extended threat detection and response. And without going into too much of details around our product portfolios, etc. When I stepped back, when I came to Trellix, I just looked back and said, listen, great company, a lot of customers, very happy, they're growing, very profitable. What can I do? I think what I immediately needed to do was make sure that I was able to jumpstart a scalable and predictable demand gen engine.
Mhm.
By that I mean, campaigns. Like, I think we were like many other companies. Trellix was also potentially in a kind of a no man's land, right? Are we pre 2019? Are we post 2019? That whole transformation had not yet happened.
Yeah.
The transformation of modern marketing. And what do I mean by that? Today, the customer, you and I, Chris, when you and I go and search for something online, right, or want to buy something, we go and do our research online. We go and talk to people who are like-minded or basically have the same kind of choices. We probably look at some peer
Yeah.
reviews. And a lot of that research is done before we even go to purchase something. I mean, I'm in the business of, I'm in a situation right now where I'm trying to replace one of my cars because the lease end has come up.
Yeah.
I'm doing all that research beforehand, before I'm even going to the dealership. And when I
Right.
go there, I'm just going to hand out a little piece of paper and say, this is my price. I've done my research. I've done everything. You need to meet this price, or else I'm going to look at other options. Now,
Yeah.
that's what the mature and the informed customer is like today. Now, B2B is very more nuanced, right? It's not as simple as buying a car. You really have to look at all different ramifications. Is your IT department affected? Is your CISO affected? All that kind of good stuff. What do customers think about it? All that kind of good stuff, right? So, but if you step back, I really needed to actually jumpstart a full demand engine in the modern sense. There was demand gen obviously happening, but was it leveraging the best that, say, our website could do? taking care of digital traffic, right? You talk about intent and propensity data, right? Are we looking at all those signals that are coming at us on the website? Are the right people hunting for us? Right? Do
Yeah.
we have the right search terms out there? Are we bubbling up to number one, number two, or are we not? So we did a couple of quick little tweaks. If you go to our website right now on Trellix.com, you actually can answer 5 questions. Who are we? Right? What do we do? How can we help you? Why is it that we are unique? And basically, how can you get started? And in a matter of these just one page, you can actually answer all these questions and get going and actually ask for a demo. And we did this whole transformation around the website. It was a beautiful website prior to this. It was really dedicated to our new brand and things like living security, which is our mantra, and soulful work. And now we're transitioned to an amazing aspect around taking that whole brand thinking now into the demand gen piece, where we're answering questions that customers are asking about. Like, who are you, Trellix? What do you do? How can you help me? How can I get started with you? Right? What kind of customers work with you? Do you have customer examples? So that was one of the quick wins. So you'll see that, that's been updated. I'm already seeing lower bounce rates. I'm already seeing higher requests for demos. I'm already seeing number of visits increasing, dwell time. People are not leaving as fast as they used to before. So maybe something is working. Now we still have a long way to go. I still am going to be working a lot on it, but that was one of the lower hanging fruits. And the other one was business driven or outcome based campaigns. A lot of companies still do, hey, I need to drive a campaign for this product without stepping back and saying, listen, what is a business problem that product can probably solve? Maybe it is 3, maybe it's 4. And we have a wonderful platform, right? We have a portfolio. We don't just have a platform. We have a product, but we have a platform of various best of breed products, right?
Yeah.
Every single aspect of our platform does, we are the best in what we do for that particular product.
Yeah.
To bring all this together in an outcome-based way, right? Using business language. For example, ransomware detection and response is a big campaign that we are going on with right now.
Yeah.
But it's just an overlay, it's a veneer on top of our platform. It gives our salespeople that approach, that door opener to speaking to you, Chris. Right? If ransomware is not an if but a when, right? It's going to hit every one of us. But are you in the right place? Are you going to be protected in a way, right? So that when that happens, we can detect and respond to it very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So you need a partner in crime, and that is us. So those are the two things that I'll probably do, right? So drive the right kind of campaigns, modernize your demand gen to be more digital first.
Well, I think one thing that you said that really stuck out at me was on your homepage, basically make your homepage like a self-sustaining little sales pitch.
Yes.
Like make it so that when somebody goes to your homepage, they're going to get the best version of your sales pitch that you can muster in a relatively general way. And we could talk about personalization and different types of things, but yeah, I think that's a good play to just have. And some people, they don't want their homepage to just scroll and scroll and scroll. They're like, oh, it's too long. Nobody's going to read it. And that's true. Nobody, probably very few people are going to read it from top to bottom. But you scroll, you make good use of the headlines. I'm looking at Trellix.com right now. You make good use of the headlines to summarize and allow people to skim and scan. You deliver a cohesive image right one page so that, no matter how they find you, they're going to get that message. I have like 3 or 5, or actually probably more like 7 or 15, just like really quick win, like quick hit type of a thing. That I'll share a couple of them with you just for the interest of, you'll find them useful, probably some of them, as well as the audience. But like when it's a substantial company like Trellix and you have thousands of customers, like one thing that I find to be often useful is simply send more email. Simply send more. Like a lot of companies are underutilizing email, or they're just like broadcasting, really, really wide sets. But at a major company like that, like you guys have probably hundreds of thousands of records in your database or millions. Like find a small little segment of that and first query like for, hey, like show me everybody that's a current customer that hasn't received an email like in the last 7 days. So take your like hundreds of thousands of records down to like tens of thousands with that. And then you can find a little cohort within that. Like you can make sales from a small email list, you know? So that's one of my quick hits is just like, yo, let's look at this email database and find like underutilized pockets of it. A second quick hit is in remarketing. So especially in the B2B space, these are not overnight decisions. These are not impulse purchases. Most marketers and advertisers are doing remarketing, but it's like at a pretty superficial level or like a pretty general level where they'll say like, hey, retarget all website visitors over the last 30 days. But especially if you have the luxury of having a high traffic website or having all these customers, uh, you could basically say like, "Hey, show me everybody that's visited this page or this cluster of pages," and make a remarketing audience off of that. Or if you have enough traffic, you could even say you could go beyond like, "Show me everybody that's visited these pages." And also they're in these countries which we service and not in those countries which we don't like. And they've also done some sort of engagement, like they viewed more than one page or they clicked on, some specific button. So that could be pretty specific, but if you've got a lot of traffic coming to your website, like that'll be over 1,000 users, which is the minimum usually for retargeting ads to even run. So retargeting in B2B, especially enterprise B2B with those 6-month sales cycles or plus, it's way underutilized in my perspective.
I would agree. I mean, I like both your examples. I know you have a few more, but let me react to the first and the second one. I mean, for sure. So email, for sure, but I'll with a little bit of a caveat. I mean, email is a great way to get the word out. I think you were going down that path, right? Look at a particular segment of your people, and that's what we did with this whole ransomware campaign. And if you go to our website, you'll see 5 use cases: ransomware, zero trust, whatever. So we kind of segment people by their interest. And we, first of all, the first email was to everyone to kind of gauge interest. And after that, you send more and more content, which is useful. For me, it's, look, I have two different folders in my accounts, right? In my email accounts. One for the useful stuff, the other one for the not so useful stuff. So
Yeah.
I want to make sure that when I send an email out from my company, it goes into the useful bucket. And
Yeah.
that can only happen when you're sending content of great value. And content of great value has to be, thought provoking, giving someone something to actually think about. Like I have this book right here. It's my mantra, right? I have it right here on my desk. It's called As We Speak. And, it's by Peter Myers. And in the book, it says, to truly communicate with another person, you need to think about what they need, right? Not just telling them what they want to hear, but understanding what the other person needs to feel, know, and experience in order to create a shift in their thinking. It's about not about you, it's about them. And I think that's probably, I think all aspects of marketing can probably glean from, even the part around email. There's another idea that we've been working on, which is, as you said, a big company, thousands of customers. And when you're in enterprise B2B, people move around, especially in this kind of a macroeconomic conditions, right? People are moving from one company to the other. Now,
Yeah.
if at all, I could just use, and there is software out there that we are using. I'm not going to name the vendors, but obviously there's software out there that we are starting to leverage, where if you moved, Chris, from company A to company Y, and you loved us when you were at company A, if I'm able to target you when you go to company Y, my startup time to get in through the door and getting you using what I have, all I need to do is just get you up to speed, if at all, with things that are new or aspects of the portfolio that you weren't exposed to before. And there you go. Leveraging champions that move from one company to the other. That's another great way to get things going. And there's
That's
tons of great software for it.
that's my favorite one, traveling champions.
Traveling champions. Yeah.
Traveling champions. And like you mentioned, hey, send them an update on the product or what have you. In my experience, just simply reaching out to that traveling champion and saying, hey, how is it at your new job? Miss you. Like, hit me up if you want to chat sometimes. Very non-salesy. More times than not, you will get a response like, hey, great to see you too.
Yep.
Either there's an immediate opportunity in some cases, or it's like, hey, great to see you too. And then they'll start giving you coaching. They'll be like, I'm going to try to get you guys in here like as soon as
Right. Exactly right.
and that traveling champion. And there was a podcast. So you didn't want to mention a vendor, but I'll mention one that I like in that space, which is User Gems. I don't know if that's the one that you're using, but I had their CMO on the pod lately. Great guy, great product. He did a free analysis for us, which I think it only works if you're using Salesforce. Um, but it basically, like, you can upload your customer data and it will like identify some of these traveling champions that you may have missed. It's pretty cool.
I also have the aspect of, the 5 dashboards for a CMO. I think
Yeah.
you and I started talking about that, Chris, and those are the low-hanging fruit. When you asked me what would I do in my first 100 days or whatever, that might be low-hanging fruit and things like that. Yeah, those are the 5 dashboards, and that's the work I've been doing right now, right? Really driving the data hygiene, the analytics hygiene, and if you want, I'm happy to share some of them.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's talk about what you're doing with Trellix. So this is not to be confused with the 5 secrets of effective growth marketing that you shared earlier.
No,
This
this
is
is an
basically the
addition.
5. This is like the
Yeah,
modules on your personal dashboard.
exactly. When I open up my desktop in the morning, what are the 5 reports I want to see? And
Yeah.
remember, it's actually it's the number one thing I told you about data.
Yeah.
Data ROI being growth driven, right? So these are the dashboards that I always ask my demand gen, my sales, my marketing ops and analytics teams to build for me. And
Yep.
we started
So
off on day one, right?
yeah, so
So
Ash had laid out, just for people that might be joining right now, he laid out the top 5 secrets to growth marketing success that he's experienced, which were data. Data was the number one, like know your numbers, and that's it. Hiring for the growth mindset, ROI minded, transformation oriented, which points to innovation, and then alignment. Like as that marketing and growth leader, you need to be the torchbearer and bringing these different functions of a business together, like not just sales, but also product and customer success and probably other things. So now we're double clicking into that first one, which is data, and Ash is about to tell you the top 5 modules on his dashboard.
yeah, absolutely. If I didn't have any of these dashboards, I would be in big trouble. Right?
Yeah.
And I need to have it at my beck and call. So the very first one is what I call the end-to-end conversion dashboard, which is MQLs to SQLs, SQLs to pipeline, pipeline to opportunity, opportunity to the revenue or booking or whatever that might be, whatever your metrics is.
And
Now,
that's the
what
highest level.
happens? That's the
That's like
highest.
across all channels, all platforms, all
Great point.
sources.
Across all channels, across all platforms, and then you can double click, right, Chris, into that. You can probably do it by geo. You can do it by
Yeah.
products. You can do it by marketing channel. But I like to look at it first at the topmost level.
Yeah.
And I've often seen that. Listen, at least I've seen it in two cases so far. Is we typically, I mean, CMOs or at least marketing leaders in the pre-2019 days, or the old world, as I would call it, let's just fill the pipe with tons of MQOs. Right?
Right.
Volume over veracity or quality.
Mhm.
And it's a fine balance because you probably need both. You need the volume, but you also want that volume to be of high quality. But
Right.
what's happened over the last, 4 or 5 years, etc., especially in the, hey, everything I'm going to be doing is going to be in-person events. People are walking by your booth at the booth at one of your events, right? And all you're getting is you're giving them a charge key and they give you a lead. That
Yeah.
is not an MQL. That
Right.
is not something that's qualified, but you plow through so much of MQL into the system and you do not have proper offers or call to actions, etc., which are really kind of fine tuning whether that lead is truly mature or not. You really end up with a lot of bad quality opportunities, and that wastes everyone's
Yeah.
time. It dilutes credibility, and you really cannot drive alignment, right? And
Yeah.
that is why that reverts back to the whole revolving door of a CMO kind of conversation that I had before. So if I
Right.
don't have my hands on this kind of data, what's happening to the MQL? What are the benchmarks when it goes from MQL to SQL? Is that so? I start curing that pipe first and foremost. When I probably look at something like that at a new company, it'll probably look 90% red, right? Red in the sense the conversion rates are low or the volume is low over time, etc. And then you
Mhm.
start very methodically, systematically start solving. Okay, MQL to SQL, let's heal it for this particular geography, and let's now heal it for this segment of this particular product. Now start healing SQL to opportunities. Now let's start healing the rest of it towards revenue. And now this dovetails into the other dashboards that I need. I mean, one answers the other. Let's take, for
I love it.
example, I've
So
got,
this is your dashboard. The first
right,
page of that dashboard
exactly.
is the opportunity stage conversion rate, and you can
That's
double click into that and zoom into one specific stage to a different one, or to a channel and traffic source.
that's exactly right.
So
And
that, well, let's call that a page on your dashboard. But what's the second
let's call that a
page?
page. Exactly. Let's call that a page. Now you double click into one of them, right? Let's just say that, certain aspects of it are green. They've turned from red to green. So MQL to SQL has now turned to green. And let's just say that's because you're bringing in the right quality of leads and contacts into the database.
Mhm.
Awesome. And now things are still slow. I'm not meeting my numbers.
Right.
So it's the volume problem, or it's just that the leads are just aging. So the next dashboard for me is a lead aging report. Where
Mhm.
is it stuck? Where is this engine stuck? Is it stuck with certain reps? Is it just people just don't care about what I've told them? I mean, the campaign is not working. It's not resonating. Is the message not resonating? Are SDRs not looking at these particular leads? What's going on
Mhm.
over here? So it's like a sleuth, right? It's like a private investigator. You're looking at every single stage. Now, when you get to that point that you uncovered potentially one or two answers to this particular problem, you then get to a point of, hey, you know what? Let's look at by marketing channel performance. Which of these marketing channels is doing better than the others? Like, having been in the industry for so long, North America behaves slightly differently than EMEA, and it
And
behaves slightly differently from
is this
APJ.
the third page? So the second page is
Third
lead
page,
aging, and
yes,
third page is by
will be
traffic
by channel.
source
Exactly.
or geo.
You can do it by geo, but I prefer to call it by channel, and then you can double click into it
Oh,
by
okay.
geo and by product, right?
Got it.
What
Got
do
it.
I mean by channel? Okay, my webinars are doing well. So real concrete examples, right? Webinars do great, at least in my humble opinion, than in North America, or virtual summits. Not necessarily in Europe. Europe prefers to have a lot more in-person meetings, in-person events, things like that, right?
Mm.
Digital kind of work is taken up very well in North America, maybe not so much in the other geos. So you really have to look at which channels work for what, and then look
Mm.
at the volume. How many leads are coming, right? How many opportunities came out from that, right? So you can then, it's almost like having turning the different dials on a dashboard. Now you
Right.
know what to do in Europe. Now you know what to do in APJ. Now you know
Yeah.
what to do in North America for a specific product, maybe for the entire platform.
Yep.
And now when you double click on this further, now let's think about that very first report that I spoke about, the very first dashboard. Well, we've now got to a point where, yeah, we've gotten some pretty good wins and opportunities, but they are not converting into bookings or revenue. This is beautiful, Chris, because now you start looking at SDR performance and sales win rates. So you can look at basically SDRs and say, are they getting enough number of calls? Are they actually treating them with the right kind of enablement in place? Do they know what to tell people when they pick up the phone? Do they have the right offer, right?
Yeah.
Do they have the right follow-up? And then when you look at the next one, which is a fifth report, which is basically, sales win rate kind of productivity, you really can tell who are your top 10% of sales reps who really love your message and they're going down that particular campaign route, and they're doing a
Yeah.
great job with it. And the rest of them, maybe they don't care about your campaign. Maybe they're looking at other ways of, making their number. That's fine. But then that means I need to potentially enable them better. Maybe the way I speak to them has to be slightly different, or I need to just basically make sure that it's a priority because it's a priority for the company. So these 5 or 6 things really help me become a better marketer because I have data at my fingertips now and I know how to pivot and I know how to react
That's
proactively.
brilliant. So the fifth page on your dashboard is basically like a sales productivity breakdown, almost by rep or by region or both.
Both.
Wow, that's amazing. So that would seem like it should be on the dashboard of like a CRO or like a head
Sure.
of sales.
Sure.
So I guess where does your job end and your sales leader's job start in your mind?
But that's alignment, right? I mean, we are helping sales in a way that, listen, here you go. In fact, it's always great when a CRO and a CMO are joined at the hip. For me,
Oh, that's always
I,
great.
I
Yeah.
don't win till a CRO wins. It's as simple as that. There's no point, patting myself on the back saying, hey, I hit all my numbers and we missed our revenue targets or we missed our bookings targets. Company loses. That's not exactly what you want to do. So I'm in my job to make sure that the CRO is successful.
Yep.
That has to be the mindset for any CMO.
Love it. Well, hey, there's a lot of different directions we could go to here. I wish we had like 3 more hours to talk. Um, I know that we're running short on time here, and I want to get you out of here in time. Uh, in terms of Trellix, are there any big win stories? I know you've only been there for a few months, but are there any big win stories that you'd like to share, or like team members you'd like to call out?
Oh, absolutely. So, look, we have a maybe the world's number one or the industry's number one, threat intelligence arm. People like John Fokker really being right out there, making sure that we are looking at all kinds of data out in the web, out in the ecosphere and the internet, etc., making sure that cyber criminals are caught right in their footsteps. So, you can read up more about us. You can go on our website and figure out and find out threat intelligence. This is all about what John Fokker does along with our platforms. It's not just our great technology, it's also the research that goes behind it along with our artificial intelligence.
Oh, and John Fokker is at Falker.
Fokker.
Fokker. Okay, Fokker. Got it.
He's brilliant. He's fantastic. He's a great presenter. I mean, and he represents the company really well. So that's one. And the other big win that, from a Trellix perspective, I think one of the biggest, I won't name the names, but I think big compliment we got recently from one of the industry leaders from a thought leadership and analyst communities. You probably have one of the most crisp ways of communicating the value of your platform. And that shows up on our website. You can see it when you go to our platform page.
Yeah.
In fact, that's all that marketing did, but the brilliance is in the products, the brilliance is in the history and the heritage of the company. As I said, been around for 25 years. It's important to bring to bear that we are the world's number one open and comprehensive platform for what we do. So those are some of the key wins, I would say, in the last 100 days, maybe.
Cool. All right. Well, the last segment that we have before we get to the lightning round is challenges. Tell us, just like in a couple minutes, what are some of the big challenges that you're facing right now? What keeps you up at night?
Well, see, the team is always top of mind, right? Building that growth-minded team. I mean, and it's not just about getting people who are new, but it's also transforming people who are in place, getting to that growth mindset, right? So there's a lot of work that is going in along with my HR business partners, with my other leaders within the organization, etc. Trying to get every single one on my team to that point where they have stretch goals for themselves. They look at where they can actually do 100 times more, right? Just in their own minds. Hey, listen, can we actually stretch this goal a little bit more and see where we can actually land? Right. So that transformational culture has to be is what's top of mind for me. The second thing is basically becoming, from a challenge perspective, I mean, becoming that digital first kind of a demand gen engine within the company, within the ecosphere, within the industry. That's the other piece of it. I wouldn't call it a challenge because we are already on our way, but it takes a lot of work, right? The marketing stack itself has over 30,000 tools and technologies out there. You know that as well as I do. MarTech is hot. Which technologies do you use? Which technology you probably not use? You mentioned earlier one of the technologies that integrates with Salesforce. Those are questions that we constantly look at when we are investigating new capabilities and tools. We have Marketo as a standard stack. We have obviously Salesforce. We have a couple of other pieces, and we try to build around these foundational aspects, right? So truly modernizing my digital foundation. And the third thing is obviously making sure that we can drive more contribution to bookings and revenue from a marketing sourced perspective.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm curious, what do you use for your dashboarding software? Are you Tableau or
Looker?
Looker, yeah. Looker and BigQuery.
Looker, Power BI. We have some Power BI. So it's a big enterprise. So obviously there are multiple tools.
Nice. All right, cool. Well, on this, I said that was the last segment, but one other one. What are you guys investing in? If you can talk about it, like, is there anything specific that you guys are buying like this year or next year tech wise?
Well, definitely traveling champions, as we just discussed a couple of
Yeah.
minutes ago. So that's definitely high on my radar. We will be looking into it. We are also going to look at, how we can build out a digital community. So I am, investigating various ways of actually creating champions within the ecosphere, both internal as well as external, because that's fundamental to how I market, right? Can I deliver that value to someone? If you were part of my community, Chris, and you came into my community page every week, you should be able to find very, very useful nuggets of information, value, demos, be able to speak to your peers. I should be able to celebrate your wins, especially when you have great milestones achieved within your own deployment, etc. So
Yep.
that's one of the big implementations for me. And of course, we'll keep improving on things around propensity and intent data. I mean, there are tools galore out there that are absolutely new and look at different aspects of it.
Nice, nice. All right, man. Well, this has been awesome. It's time for the lightning round. Answer
Okay.
these, answer these, just shoot from the hip. So quick answer. But question number one is, if you were to start a side hustle, what side hustle would that be?
PI, private investigator, for
Oh,
sure.
PI. I thought you said BI. Oh, okay. Private investigator. Nice. All right. That's an interest. I've never gotten that one. That's definitely a first.
Well, think
Um,
about it. I mean, the sleuthing that I do with the data, I'm sure I'll be able to do that with reams and reams of information, right?
yeah, definitely. Cool. And then number two is top three books or authors or influencers that have made a big impact on your career.
Yeah, so I mentioned one. I mean, as we speak, by Peter Myers and Shan Nix. I mean, there's a story behind this. There was a time in my life when I was very, very afraid of speaking in front of 3,000 people. I could do it in front of 300 people, but it was very tough for me to do it in front of 3,000 people. And I took this course at Stanford. I had one of my mentors, etc., and they give to this book to me. And
Mhm.
that line which I read to you earlier is, "It's not about you, it's about them," really changed my life. And whenever I now step out and onto a stage, and it's magical because I really put myself in service to the people I'm actually presenting to. So all the
Interesting.
nerves just disappear in a second, obviously. And yeah, and you're able to deliver something of value to people who are sitting in that seat, who made that investment to sit down there and listen to you for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever that might be. So that
Yeah.
that book is truly, truly, the cornerstone of everything I do.
Nice. When were you introduced to that book?
That was about 12 years ago,
Oh,
10
wow.
or
And
10 or 12 years ago.
you still
Oh,
keep it on your
yes. Yes,
desk.
it's right here. Right here. Yes.
Wow. All right. Well, that maybe we could just have that one to not water that down, since that seems like it's a Bible for you almost.
That
It's like
absolutely
an
is.
um and that's also interesting that you could speak in front of 300 but not 3,000. Like you
It's
know,
probably about the eye contact, right, Chris? I mean, I could look at people in their eyes, and actually, a group of people. But then if you're staring into a wide audience which is dark and you really don't know
yeah.
who you're
And
connecting with,
the really
and the
bright
light.
light is shining in your face so you can't even see him.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, last the lightning round is how do you avoid burnout and how do you help your team avoid burning out?
Uh, I think it's about taking the time. I think Trellix is amazing about this. They are really, really, you know, they have a lot of investment in people's wellness, mental wellness, as well as just making sure you're taking the time for yourself. I play a lot of tennis. And I play a lot of tennis with my daughter, and she is
Yeah.
getting much better than me with each passing day. And I used to pride myself, hey, I used to play on my school team, my university team, but she's that much better than me. So that keeps me going, this old
Yeah.
man. So I keep trying to get better, watch a lot of videos, try to get myself, top notch shape. So that's how my weekends go. Um, 4 hours every day over the weekend. So about 7 to 8 hours over the weekend, I'm done. I'm back on Mondays, completely refreshed. All the stress is taken out on the little tennis ball, and I'm back to doing what I'm doing. I think the
Nice.
trick is to find your own little way of getting it out, and it's physical activity. So obviously that's great as well.
That's cool. How good are you at tennis? Are you like a 3-5 or 4-0 or 4-5?
Between a 3.5 and a 4.0, I would say,
Three
trying
five
to
four
inch
zero.
myself right about that.
Nice. That's better than me. I'm like a 3.0 on a good day. Uh, um, cool, man. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being on the show today. And thank you for everybody listening. If you learned something today or laughed a little bit or enjoyed this, drop us a like, drop us a comment, share this with a friend. It's certainly helpful. And then Ash, if people want to learn more about you or Trellix, where would you direct them?
Definitely, you want to learn more about me, definitely go to the Forbes Communication Council and look for me. You can just Google me, Ash Parikh and Forbes. I'll leave everyone with one thought, right? Keep in mind, a CMO's role is 7 roles rolled into one. I've written an article on this. So it's about, what a CMO's role is in a B2B kind of an outfit. And I think the best CMO is someone who doesn't think that they're the smartest in the room. They hire great people. They know enough. They know where to kind of put the checks and balances and kind of look for, inspect what you expect and make
Yeah.
sure that everyone is maniacally executing to a particular plan. I always say this, right? Try fast, fail fast, scale fast. That's always been my mantra.
Mm.
And the last but not the least, just self-awareness, 100% self-awareness. Ash, you're good at this. You're absolutely not good at this. At least try to get decently good at that and leave the rest to your team. So I think that's truly important. That's the mindset that I'd probably like to drive. So you'll see a lot of that on Forbes. I mean, that's the ethos of the kind of articles I write out there.
Cool. Well, I'll definitely check that out. We'll include the link to that in the show note. You stay on for just 1 minute and we'll close up. But for everybody else, thank you very much. This has been another awesome episode of Revenue Driven CMO, and we will see you next time. And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us here today. For show notes and other episodes, visit us at revenuedrivencmo.com. That's revenuedrivencmo.com. And hey, exclusive for listeners of this podcast, Web Mechanics will do 10 to 20 hours of work for you for free. Literally no sales calls, no BS. Just give them a problem and they will put a team to work for you for free for 10 to 20 hours. Even if you're already a client. If you're struggling with demand gen, lead gen, SEO, SEM, Google ads, LinkedIn ads, conversion optimization, if you can't get Facebook or Meta ads to work for the life of you, or you can't figure out attribution, Web Mechanics will take a good hard look at whatever problem you give them, whatever programs you put in front of them, and they will give you an objective, informed opinion, plus some advice from 10 to 20 hours of senior level attention. And that's just because you're a listener of this podcast. So I would suggest take them up on this offer. It's ridiculous. Go to revenuedrivencmo.com/free, fill out the 2-minute form, and you will not regret it. Literally zero downside, unlimited potential for growth. So do yourself a favor, revenuedrivencmo.com/free, no hyphens, no punctuations. You will be happy about that decision.